on the banks of the Pachitea River in the low jungle of Huánuco is Puerto Inca, a place where life unfolds in harmony with nature. Here, the river becomes an ally, flowing alongside the livestock, agricultural, and mining activities that sustain the community. However, mining in the Amazon faces serious problems. The bad practices of some irresponsible miners devastate the jungle, contaminate rivers, and threaten the health of communities. Despite this bleak outlook, there are responsible miners like in Puerto Inca. Their arms work with the mud and water day and night. They operate the machines that allow them to extract gold nuggets from the Amazonian land.
We, the miners who are in the association, have a policy of doing clean mining here in Puerto Inca and demonstrating to the whole world that it is indeed possible to do responsible and sustainable mining over time in alluvial mining.
We are a group of miners trying to do things the best way. They already see small-scale miners as illegal or as people who leave the land full of holes everywhere. And we see that we work in a different way.
The artisanal collection of gold in the Puerto Inca area dates back to the Inca era. The ancient Peruvians knew how to extract and work gold with techniques that endure to this day. Moches and quemos, for example, demonstrated their exquisite goldsmithing to the world. In the past, the brightness of gold was sought by the conquerors. And today this valuable and scarce metal, whose international price is booming, is also in demand throughout Peru. It is a privileged area of the world for housing significant gold reserves in its lands. Being the second most important gold-producing country in Latin America and the 10th in the world ranking, the golden metal drives the economy throughout the country. To date, it's estimated that more than 500,000 people are directly engaged in small-scale mining, and more than 2 million indirectly. However, the extent of these activities throughout the country contrasts with the lack of regulation of the work of small miners who want to be legal. A regulation to organize this economic activity is necessary, especially if this mining does not use mercury, as for example in Puerto Inca.
As you can see, none of this is primary forest anymore. This is what we call a perma. It was cleared years ago. It just went to pasture. And what you see are permas with no trees like that anymore.
There's no forest left to cut here because they cleared the primary forest about 40 or 50 years ago. These are agricultural lands, and our commitment is also to leave it the same for arable land. What is done is the soil, the topsoil, is removed and placed to the sides. After placing it to the sides, the pit is made. The first is the sedimentation pit. After that, the gravel is removed and the void is made. There, the chute or the plasticizer is placed, and over it, the excavator puts the gravel on the hopper. And by hydraulic gravimetry, because that washing is with water at pressure, the gold is settling together with other heavy metals, like iron, as it has an end. This magnetite, wolframio, and minerals like those, because due to their weight, they settle and remain on the carpet.
Remain. Goodbye.
And in the end, you're left with just the sand. In that sand are the elements I mentioned, plus the
It's
gold.
called free gold because it's no longer attached to any other mineral.
That is taken to a tub and starts to be beaten, kneaded with a sea basin.
We'll go ahead. And that's it, so to speak. It's already finished. It's going to take the little stones, the iron, the grit, And in the end, we're left with a bit of grit and gold. And you'll see what the gold looks like.
After that, the moisture is removed.
Games. Nothing, nothing.
Thank you. A little response. Let's see if it gets created.
Now what we are going to do is remove the ice to leave it only with the grit and the gold.
Thank you. What are you doing? We have to make a mistake. And we don't breathe anymore.
Aguirre.
Thank you.
Sometimes you blow on it, and through a ventilation system, you are left with pure gold. The balance is placed, and that's how it goes to the foundry, to Lima.
Thank God I feel like I am a babysitter. And much more because I am a babysitter.
Why do I carry it here when I can melt it here without melting it there? With the aim, with the purpose that the gold reaches there in such a natural form, as it has been possible to extract it here from the mine, without mercury, without cyanide, in the most natural way. For what purpose? Because it is a certified company, have 100% certainty that the gold is being delivered in its natural state. That is native gold. That is its proper name, native gold. In the case of the gold from Hirsch, it has a purity of 91 or 92%. Once it has been weighed, how much does the bar have? That amount, according to the exchange rate or the international sales value, is deposited into my bank account. From the moment they deposit it, they immediately deduct the ITF and the withholdings from me. That's regarding the gold's transferability. Then, what does the machine do? It performs the closing of Nina. It's like saying, returning it to its initial state as it was. You have to spread all the gravel, level it, so that the soil, the topsoil, goes back on top. Practically, what has been done is just earth removal, and since it is organic soil, the vegetation recovers again.
Here we see a closing stage. Later, in a few months also, this area will no longer be bare ground. It will be covered because in our closure plan, it's considered that the area won't be exposed. Today we are in June, starting the summer, and it is very important that by the start of winter, this area will already have vegetation cover. We are just going to plant a legume to help close the cover, and at the same time, when the winter starts, it will prevent soil erosion due to leaching and rain effects.
Here, as the norm requires, we don't leave the land like this. This here will eventually be like this. As I say here, we are going to plant grasses, trees, depending on what we find. For example, here's countryside, so here it should be. It is only livestock here, so we have to plant grass. Because in other places, we have to plant plantain, or if not, cocoa. So as responsible miners committed to formalization, we leave the land restored.
We have worked on all this area Here where the corn is, we have worked and the enclosure has been made, and now there is corn. Down as well where the bananas are, behind that tree that we call topa or balsa, behind everything is banana. I'm a farmer and I like farming, and now I have chosen to make ponds here to raise fish.
Why do we say it is sustainable mining over time? Because of your mom. Here is the sample. This is a fish farm, and there are more fish farms that are set up at the bottom. This fish farm currently has smallmouth bays. It is going to reproduce and will not only serve for sustenance, but also the excess production can be taken to market. And you can see that entire area that has been fully leveled and is in recovery. This is to be able to plant any crop, yuccas, bananas, corn, cacao further ahead. This is an area where work has already been done. It has been worked on for approximately 1.5 years. As soon as the mine closure was completed, we immediately planted the bananas. And as you can see, it is already in production. Apart from that, what we have done is, in the middle, we have already started planting. This is orange. It's a grafted orange. The paradigm that says where there is mining, nothing grows, that those lands become sterile, false. That is completely untrue. I want the whole country and the world to know that this is a big lie that they have created simply by the misinformation and by those who are anti-mining. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is responsible mining. This is sustainable mining.
We are in the hamlet of San Jose de Pico. My name is Flores, owner of the plot on which we have worked with Mr. Raul Garcia. The profit is a challenge we have set for ourselves. We have finished the work. The land has ended up really as always, leveled. Just wait 1 year or 2 years to recover, and then continue using it as agricultural land. Well, I am dedicated to cocoa production. I will continue planting more cacao. The cacao business is in high demand in the market, especially in recent months. The price has been quite high. It has reached even 36 soles per kilo, even more. All this was for grazing before. The grazed pasture, we have worked on that. There were no timber trees, nothing. It was just a small brush. Before, when there were meetings about the energy mines in Puerto Inca, I approached. I was already aware that one had the necessary requirements to continue working. In that I had certain doubts. However, here Mr. Baul has all the documents up to date regarding everything the state law requires. And that's how we have worked. Until today, you see, it has been completed, and I am really satisfied with all the work that has been done.
Behind small-scale mining, there are many people involved. There are transporters and commerce. As seen there too, the highway is in place. Old road, but they are already going. So mining contributes to that. So it's not just me. There are several people who have also helped by building schools, community halls, where the state does not reach. So not only do we try to take the wealth, but we also leave some behind.
As small miners, we have made ourselves work.
A school in the Pueblo Libre area.
Yes, yes, yes. Pasongi, yes, first of all, I thank the miners who are working a lot that we have never had. Now we have a school here. We have a school and other needs also. When miners are here, they provide us support, collaborations. First of all, I thank them. Yeah, they have come to work supporting the community. They have never left us isolated from the community. Everything they work on here does support us. And besides the school, we have high morale, we have the management, and we now also have a community house that they are about to finish that. And apart from that, we have engines there for a rice mill, for a sawmill. What we need is to start working. If you want to build a house, we have already made a journal there to build a house, to put all that.
For me, I am happy with the company. As I say very clearly, I am grateful because the state, yes, this year we have already the former past mayor who has left. We have no support in anything. It's just that I decided, like, I'm sincere in this matter. I was smart back then. I've lived here for years. I was a founder back then with all my mothers, all of them. And we don't CBC, but no, there's no proposal. There's no proposal. I thank the mining company that came.
We have been fighting for 5 years, not 7 years at the school, and there is no support from the municipal sports institution.
We generate jobs. In this case, with Sao Tomo, but within my operation, I have generated work for 10 families who have benefited directly from cooks, workers, operators, and then indirectly also to the people who supply us with logistics, fuels, provisions, and other types of needs used in our mining activity. As can be seen, responsible mining can indeed be conducted in an environmentally friendly and sustainable manner.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. What is it? What is this? Thank you.
There is mining. There are people who come, buy their little house regularly, come for the farm, for the transporter, to the guy who sells food. They come and buy salt so that one can live and to make food again.
But also with that scene, without diversity, it is sad, finally silence. There is no sale. Things end up nourishing the wounds of the products. Sad. When I knew mining 4 years ago, when I finished here finally, the movement has almost increased a lot.
Mining itself has brought, without being stingy, it has
Thank
brought a bit of development to our town. Many people, they have jobs, they have work, maybe their economy has improved in that direction. Mining has contributed and continues, I think still today, contributing to the improvement of Puerto Inca's economy. As a municipality, we repeat that we value and applaud the good work done by formal miners who take care to do a good job.
Despite small-scale miners and artisanal miners being recognized for their contribution to the development of their communities, many still face the stigma of being wrongly associated with illegal mining.
Even though I am complying with all the documents I have here, look at the damage they have done to this machine. They have destroyed it, they have burned it, and this machine is rented. It is not mine. Now I do not know how to pay because what we produce is almost not enough for us, even though we comply with all the regulations. It harms us this way. We are complying. With the state, we invoice, we contribute to the state. Look, even the tractor, which is purely agricultural for farming, look at how they've worn it out for me. So many of them have harmed me. It has nothing to do with mining. It's purely for agriculture. They found it far away as they made them bring it. And here they burned it. This has nothing to do with mining. How has the state expanded against me?
I have also been a victim.
Abuse of authority, part of the prosecutor's
Ucayali
office of...
environment. In this case of Dr. Carlos Nina. In this place, they have interdicted my team with my reinfo, with my people. But sir, as a proper and responsible miner, I have complied with reforesting. This is a timber tree called Capirona. And there are several of these. Here is another one. Here we have dragon's blood. Here also dragon's blood.
The authorities, in this case the Minister of the Environment and the Minister of Energy and Mines, need to take a look at the small-scale miners or artisanal miners. I think it's time to stop demonizing our activity so much, which has caused a lot of harm. Because behind our activity, it must be understood that there are also people who benefit and that we generate economic development in our local area. Because if we look at our town, it is an isolated town, far from development. There are large projects that are not being executed that do not generate employment. So what are other people going to live on?
As we can see here, the liabilities left by illegal mining can be appreciated. Now, the question is, who is going to repair this? Who is going to fix this difficulty left by the illegal miners? Here a machine was burned too, and that was it. That's how the sites are left when the machines intervene without prior study.
While this testimony was being recorded, the members of the Puerto Inca Small Miners Association noticed something shocking. A machine was operating in the riverbed, so they decided to go and confront the operator.
Yes, the gentleman is the operator. Yes. He tells me that the person responsible is Mr. Selden. Yes, Selden.
I don't know how you can tell this mango seller.
Look, here we have the carpenter, that will finish of the entire group of bosses.
We have found a being engaging in an illegal activity.
What are we going to do?
Laugh at me. He is going to laugh at me.
Thank you. How are you going to work for that chaos in the river? Not even marginal straw chaos.
Who is that? No.
And the same.
Where are they? Where are they? Oh no, the whole river is going to throw itself at us.
No, sir, I'm gaining a couple of days.
Who has no St. John?
Good advice.
Yes. There are so many ways to make a living, sir. Yes, there are so many ways to make a living. But you cannot work in the riverbed. It's forbidden.
No, no, no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to represent here the small artisanal miners, the Miners Association, and this is illegal mining. This can no longer be forgiven. Gentlemen, authorities, a man working here, as you will see in the photo, right in the riverbed, without any scruples. What are the authorities doing in this case? To the national prosecutor, to the environmental prosecutor, to the authorities, to the police. What do they do when they encounter this type of mining? We are going to give you the information and you will see what path to take.
What's happening?
No, no, no.
No, no.
Live.
I died. It killed me.
I should.
No.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here we are going to go down the river and work amidst the causes. I think you have knowledge. You know that in an association agreement, it was agreed that anyone doing bad mining works in prohibited areas such as riverbanks or 30 meters before the marginal zone.
Who is it for?
Eriquita Soso.
Thank
Your
you.
son's identification card is taken away and he is reported to the prosecutor's office.
It's this. Right now, responsible for what they have allowed to
No,
work there.
no,
I lost. You have to say it.
Very well. All right, here it is.
No, we're
Ask the
asking you
lady.
the question.
That's why
Who
I'm
is
saying,
he?
well, we will evaluate with the authority who sold there.
That's
You
why
beg him
I
at
hope
home.
to say that
At home. I'll say the so-and-so, the so-and-so. That won't stop the cold. I can't give you the information. You will already know what the information is like. That's the most important thing. Look, listen, I told you a little while ago. I told you, excuse me.
You know that
I
I
told you a
have
little
to
while ago.
convey it with responsibility.
Already the lady.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, another,
Good
no,
afternoon.
no,
I am
sir.
your wife, Mr. Eddie. I am going to be very clear. Mrs. Marilyn has come to measure my land here. She has sold the whole river without our authorization. I didn't even consult, you know what, community member? Do you know very well what my land is? Because they had to measure it alone, without asking for authorization, practically with all their people, with all their community members. So, what to say? They have sold to Mr. Melendez. So what to say? When we saw Mr. Melendez, he kept coming in. So we told him to pay us, and right now he hasn't given us even one soul yet.
Today we have discovered the task that will be done in today's course activity.
It's not mine.
I
They don't know
died
who you
in
are.
the center.
They don't know who the company is.
Who is
Yes,
Mr. Parava? The moment that has been declared
you.
is already the moment.
Thank you. Thank you.
At
Thank
5
you.
in the afternoon, the on-duty environmental prosecutor of Ucayali issued the directive for the police to go to the scene. Shortly after, this order changed.
My boss has communicated with the prosecutor and
I say that I do not remember that we could not approach at 5 in the morning tomorrow. On the contrary,
Thank you.
it would be right that in part one should go now to the plate so that it...
Sure. If the machine is going down, the truck is coming out there.
Good evening.
As miners in the process of formalization, we had reported the illegal mining caught in the act working in the river course. A first name and last name of the person responsible has been identified. We have done all the coordination. The police were very willing to go at this moment to make the verification. We have received information that those teams are being moved right now. But a higher order has come and said no, that everything should be stopped until tomorrow. It's practically like we let them escape. We let them go unpunished. That is one of the reasons why the government is the main promoter of illegal mining. We will never combat illegal mining. That's why illegal mining is winning in the country.
Mining, the engine of the economy. We are clear about the multiplier role that mining investment has as a driver of economic growth and generation of, as a source of inclusion and bridging social gaps. Our government is committed to competitive, formalized, modern, and sustainable mining, both socially and environmentally.
Well, in my situation, for example, I started this process from the year 2020 in a belated manner with the registration in RINJO, the Comprehensive Mining Training Registry. And from that point, with that registration, I began to carry out the procedures, which is the environmental management instrument in its preventive and corrective aspects before the competent authority. More or less, I started the process at the end of 2020, 2021. The first file was submitted, which is still under evaluation to date. And by the way, years have passed, and there is still no result regarding it.
I am one of the people with the exclusion designation from the rainfall. And that is what everyone in the mining area of Ladrén did. So gentlemen, it seems to me that is not correct. And I request a review of all these things. So it doesn't happen to the colleagues who are working in this way. Because mining, let's say, in the legal way, works very well. But gentlemen of Ladrén, please, we want to separate responsibilities from the illegal ones, from the informal ones.
But for us, truly, it worries us because we have carried this concern for a long time of being on hold to formalize us. I think that the state's task is to see our problems. We as workers, as concerned entrepreneurs, need to work legally and thus also contribute to the state in a formal way.
What I am doing is responsible mining.
Now, what are you going to do? Because some important mining entrepreneurs are very tough, and what they want is for rainfalls to end in December because a registration was done 12 years ago. How many are registered in rainfalls? That is informal miners in the process of formation, 90,000.
86,000.
Thank you very
86,000.
But there is also a detail.
Do you understand? And it dies.
Only a little more than 20,000 have shown interest in formalizing. What have I always said? If the state is putting up too many barriers, we have to reduce the barriers. We have to be offering incentives so that formalize. But as we well know, we have been here for many years. Even myself, it is criminalized. And then during Kuczynski's government, the famous re-info is introduced, which I see as well-intentioned, because it stands for Comprehensive Formalization Registry. But it hasn't worked. The re-info has only served as, let's say, a document to get in anywhere. But still, I think we should also acknowledge those who have become formal. There are already more than 2,000.
It's impressive that you have 86,000 enrolled and only 2,000 formalized?
No.
Which has also been a very cumbersome process, correct? Correct.
From 2017 to 2000, up to 2023, almost to this date, there is not a single formal one, even though the Ministry of Energy and Mines has transferred funding every year. Suddenly, in the process, we found that our administrators had suddenly done something inappropriate, not because of them, but more because of our institution. And we have corrected that and are now about to formalize at least 5 or 4 for now. And gradually to our reinforcements as well, because they have until December 31st. Faced with this situation, various voices share their point of view on what can be done and what role small-scale mining can play. The debate is broad and growing.
Mining in Peru is over 3,000 years old. The ancient Peruvians engaged in gold mining activities, mainly in Chavin in Paracas. It is an activity closely linked with the culture of Peru. It is an ancient activity. What is unheard of is that now we have a mining regime that favors large-scale mining to the detriment of small-scale mining and artisanal mining.
We at the Capital Peru Commission have detected that the issue of mining is a major national problem that needs a solution, and we have begun to analyze it piece by piece. One of the parts that is more profitable for the country, to put it somehow, is the commercialization of gold. It is important to channel it formally and not lose what we are currently losing. which is estimated at $4 billion per year that go through informal mining on an unknown path.
And what we specifically want, or they are the ones who drive the economy of our country, also is 6% formalized and give that legality within their framework, protecting the environment, having all the supports for their legality, because we all know and recognize that they also contribute their contributions.
Hallelujah.
The zone of people or those who have opinions or the officials in charge of this do not know in detail the complexity of what small-scale and artisanal mining means. In its complexity, in its heterogeneity, and some politicians, out of ignorance, they are trying to understand that all small-scale and artisanal mining is illegal, which is absolutely false. I want to say then that not all illegals are linked to criminal organizations, much less the miners, who are the vast majority. Small artisanal miners are in the process of formalization and cannot easily be accused of being linked to criminal organizations, much less labeled as terrorists, as some have begun to do.
It is a problem of capital formation. It is a formation of world opinion in how both things can coexist, both agriculture and mining, which have been resolved. They are in more than 1,496 Peruvian regulations that give them the right even to export from the surface, but that you and the state are unaware of.
Illegal mining taking place in the jungle area of Peru, but predominantly it uses mercury, which is dangerous because it is released into the environment inappropriately, exposing both the workers who work in those mines. Then it is transported through the river and exposes the populations that use the hydrobiological resources. It also accumulates in the surrounding trees and exposes the flora and fauna, generating quite severe environmental impacts. Every activity generates impacts. The issue is learning to manage them. There are impacts that are not acceptable due to where they are found. And there are other impacts that can be managed with appropriate measures. In the case of mining that does not use mercury, we generate a good part of the problems, but there continue to be impacts associated with earth and material movement, sediment transport, but all of these are manageable. Much of this mining that develops in Puerto Inca is quite equivalent to the extraction of ballast material from riverbeds for construction. So there should be a more or less equivalent measure, and there should be the ability for these activities to be formalized without major issues.
During these now 12 years that this process has lasted, hundreds of millions of souls have been spent on repression, in chasing, in criminalizing, and resources have not been granted or have been minimally granted for formalization. So at this moment, we have 95,000 registered in Reinfo, and only 2,000 mining operators have been formalized throughout the Republic. In other words, it is a total failure. A completely misguided approach has been taken, prioritizing persecution, interdictions, and criminalization, having considered mining as a criminal offense as well. I believe the approach was incorrect. Second, the legal framework given in 2012, which is still in force, was an absolutely failed legal framework that has not helped mining regulation. And third, the lack of commitment from the national government and the subnational and regional governments.
There are regulations that allow for it to be formalized. It's not that anyone prevents it. The ADREN does not prevent it. Our role is to formalize. It's just that there are 2 or 3 opinions. An answer for opinion and Sonam opinion. If those three opinions do not arrive in favor, there are always observations from our administrators that they cannot resolve. In other words, practically, Sernam, Ana, and Allah do not give a favorable opinion, so to speak, for it to be formalized. That is more the bottleneck that exists.
The buffer zones of protected natural areas like SIRA act as a buffer zone that prevents economic activity whose impacts can reach the protected area, and then there is a restriction of activities in general in this zone. It is necessary to develop their conversations and technical support to coordinate with the CERNAM, which is the governing body that oversees the protected natural areas, to obtain the certificate of use, compatibility, and then establish strategies that can be compatible. And sometimes the authorities are a bit literal in their legal interpretations, but there should be an effort by creating bridges there so that the authority can understand that these activities they use a mercury, which simply involves small-scale earth movement. It does not pose a risk to the protected natural area.
Unfortunately, the laws given by the state are so that no one formalizes. They ask for things that are almost impossible to fulfill. For example, the concession contract, it has to be the will of one private party with another private party, which is the miner, for them to grant or establish the conditions under which they can allow exploitation of their concession area. It is a law that has an incredible degree of perversity. That is, the Peruvian citizen who wants to mine and does not have a concession has to start negotiating with someone who has the right to the concession, and the will is held captive by the one who has the right. If they give it and accept a contract, they become formal and can formally channel the gold. But if they don't give it and he starts extracting minerals, because the territory is vast and impossible to control, from any of these concessions, it produces gold, it has gold, and it cannot sell it to anyone because it cannot guarantee that it comes from a formal excavation. It doesn't exist. So it becomes illegal.
But what informal miners represent for the country is being overlooked, which is a new potential for mining development and therefore development for the country, taking advantage of today the opportunity we have with prices that have broken historical records. Reaching $2,400 per ounce is a record, and we can perfectly take advantage of that. And therefore, what must be given is, first of all, legal security. What does legal security mean? That the investment being made by small and artisanal miners is guaranteed over time. We need to create a kind of shock of incentives to strengthen formalization, in the sense that, for example, that there's no great effort on the part of the state for everything related to technological innovation, training, public or private funds or public-private partnerships to strengthen experiences and the development of small-scale mining or artisanal mining.
Atención.
That is where the owner has never invested a single dollar in either exploring or exploiting.
Now, what it does is charge a tariff, a toll to the miner who operates it. So it's a kind of feudal system that can't continue. Therefore, a reform is urgently needed, because what it is ultimately about is being able, as Peruvians, to leverage our enormous mining potential. Peru is a country blessed with natural resources, but it's useless if they remain buried hundreds of meters underground.
Sticky mucus.
Side by side, arm in arm, with an inclusive legal system that understands and incorporates everything, let's work to enhance our wealth. We have condemned
Really?
20,000 miners. What is the purpose of the law? the law more.
We're going to do that for him now.
It is a project we have presented to the Congress of the Republic with the aim of achieving formalization. Since the government has not done it, we have done it. There are 2 bills in Congress, and the aim of the law is precisely to hasten, raise awareness among the authorities so they can support the approval, enactment, and association of this law, because on the 31st of December of this year, the formalization process expires. So the concern of all the miners is great.
Where do you want us to go mining? Should we go to China? Should we go to Canada? Do you think they will welcome us to do mining there?
We will do mining here in Peru because we are Peruvians, because the resources belong to us, because it's ours. United miners will never be lost. United miners will never be lost.
In search of their own law, small-scale miners and artisanal miners have united and mobilized for several months. Their fight is for a fair law and a formalization system that works and allows them to work with dignity. What they are asking for is simple, clear rules and a path to formalization that allows them to move forward without obstacles, contributing to the country's development while ensuring their livelihood and that of their families.
That is what we miners have done. I want to address you, Mr. Minister of Energy and Mines, and you, President of the Congress. The time has come to legislate, to make a law where reality can truly be functional.
Remember,
let's remove those bad stigmas they have. Responsible mining can be done in the Amazon like this.
Thank you.